So right. Right. Okay, hopefully you could see my screen. Right. So, so let me just give you a quick update on. Okay. So SkilledUp Live started on 1st of August 2020. So we are coming to the end of our second year in operation. The first year, it was really about trying to see whether the concept we came up with will resonate with others. So the first year was our key target was to acquire 1,000 volunteers, which we achieved with the help of volunteers. So this year we had a target of getting to 11,000. We are a little bit behind, but we still have a few days left. So if any of you know anyone else who might be interested in joining us, please let them know. And what we are trying to do at SkilledUp Live is to provide you with experience so that you could take the experience forward to go and get a job. Or it might be that you already have a job. You might already be in HR in this case. And this additional help might help you to get a promotion. You might not be in HR, you might be in a different field, but with this experience, you might be able to go and apply for a HR job. We provide experience, we do not provide jobs. So the experience you gain through us would be either helping ourselves or one of the companies on SkilledUp Live. And if you think about adult life, we are, every day we are learning. So we're building SkilledUp Live in a way where you could dip in, dip out whenever you want to gain experience. So you might be interested in gaining experience right now. Once you gain that experience, you might come back in a couple of years' time because you want to get some different type of experience. So SkilledUp Live is built with that idea in mind. All right. So HR is, as you know, it's very important. HR typically is needed when a company is growing, especially with SkilledUp Live. We now have over 8,200 individuals. And for our companies, they need to access that talent pool, but they've got to find the best fit candidates. And there's nobody else better than HR volunteer helping that activity and help our companies find the best talent. So, part of HR volunteering is about learning how to source other volunteers, but also once you have a number of volunteers in a team, it's about how you build that team. How do you build a number of teams? It doesn't stop there. The next stage is to look at saying, okay, now we have a bunch of people volunteering for this company. You as a HR volunteer then need to start thinking about how do we get this team to perform as a high-performing team. So the HR functionality, in a way, never stops. You have a lot of ground to continue to learn and improve. So some of my team is on the call. So I was talking to Saloni earlier, and Anne should be on the call as well. We ourselves are continually bringing on more and more people into our HR team. So we started bringing on board the first HR volunteer back in August last year. Since then, many have come through us, gain experience, and they've gone out. Some of them actually got jobs as a result of that. And you could see some of the case studies on our website as well. But really, it's typically the volunteer term is 3 months long. It's 1 to 3 hours per day. And with our team, we insist on 2 hours per day because 1 hour is not really enough to get much in a day. And it's typically 3 months. Some of them might decide to extend. For example, Cecilia want to extend by another 3 months. So you have those options when you join a startup. So looking at the core tasks associated with HR volunteering, there has to be a strategy with each company. So if you become a HR volunteer for a company, the company itself might not have a strategy of how to find talent. You might get involved in putting that strategy together with them. And then you need to obviously build toolkits, etc. So key part is about sourcing, finding the right individuals. Next is once you found them, onboard them, provide some training, continually monitor their performance. If they struggle, you need to step in and help. And as the 3 months come to an end, you need to help them find a replacement. And part of that is to also find a replacement for you as well. And then obviously there's a part where offboarding is involved, which is where making sure all the documentation are back with the company, and also the company will provide testimonials and letter of recommendations, right? Then HR blueprint for success. So we talk a bit about strategy. There has to be a process in place. Documents have to be created if there are no documents in place. Again, you need to use a number of software tools to achieve this. And from our part, we are very happy to share what works with us with the team that you join. So going through very quickly, if you start as a HR volunteer working with the particular company, especially working with the CEO, because these companies are tiny, you need to identify what the needs are, go and publish the opportunities, then find the right candidates. Sometimes, typically people will apply, but those apply do not fit the requirement. Then you need to go onto our database and start looking for best fit candidates. So you have to be proactive as well as being reactive. Then you need to have arrange a short interview. Then there is a volunteer that need to be signed by the 2 parties. We have a template that we can share. Then the onboarding process starts. Sometimes onboarding might involve creating of a new email account, creating accounts for various tools used. So there's quite a bit of work needed there, and also explaining how the company functions. Then there might be, depending on the role, some training needs to be done, and you would need to coordinate that. Then you would need to provide some, you need to monitor how the individual is getting on with the team. This might include surveys. And then, as I said before, when the individuals get into 2 or 3 months, you need to start making sure there's a replacement in place. So, the commitment is 1 to 3 hours per day for 3 months. You might have weekly team meetings. If you join our team, we insist on submission of a daily update, because otherwise, we don't know what problems the individual might have. And we obviously want to know what was done that day, so we can intervene if intervention is needed to help. So really, that's a short presentation. Let me see how much time we got left. Okay, so that's a fairly quick one. So let me show you the dashboard, and then we can have a Q&A session. Okay, so this is a dashboard when you log in. Sorry, this is better. So as you log in, you could see the latest applicants. And we have a huge backlog that's continued to increase. And we really haven't managed to get a control of our backlog. So if I then go and say, okay, I want to see who has applied for a particular role. So let's take a look at, let's say, business development. So we have a number of individuals, and then you could go and so, for example, Francis join us, and what typically happens is that you will go and review, let's say, review a profile. Obviously, you know what the requirements are, and it's vital that your profile is complete. Otherwise, you are competing with others who has completed profiles, and if your profile is not completed, then you're going to be disadvantaged. It's fairly easy to complete the profile. It shouldn't be too hard. And if you struggle, you can always click on chat and get some help from us. So based on this, you might decide that you as a HR volunteer, this is a good candidate you want to take forward. What we suggest is that, jumped here. Sorry. So because we get a lot of applications and we want to understand the current status of the individual, we have a pre-qualification questionnaire, and we are recommending this to our companies. It's basically trying to find out a bit more information than what's available on your profile. For example, because your profile is more generic, this is in terms of what you applied, you know, what your current status, etc. So once you submitted the pre-qualification questionnaire, then the company, you as a HR volunteer, will review that with sometimes by yourself or with the support of company, someone from the company. And then you will organize a 30 minutes interview as I explained. And there's some information here. If you go under resources, it's under companies rather than opportunities. Again, you could see what we call the volunteer sourcing process. And you could also see we've written about, this is to help companies, whether, you know, they can decide whether to hire a single HR volunteer or build a whole HR team. In our case, we have built a whole team, and we are continually adding more people as some leaves, but also to extend the HR functionality. So some of the areas are, as I explained before, you could take different strategies, and with the company, with the CEO or whoever you are working with, you could decide how to build various teams for the company. So there's a bit about building teams as well. So this is today is just to give you a insight into what HR volunteering is like. So I hopefully you heard that and you saw what I was presenting, but we can now have I think we got about 20 minutes of Q&A. So has anyone got any questions? No one got any questions? Right, please go ahead, Emmanuel. You raised your hand, please go ahead. Emmanuel, Eugenie.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I'm interested in building a career in HR, even though I've got no HR experience. So I'm trying to look at, is there a possibility of an extension after the 3 months?
You could extend to longer than 3 months. The reason that we suggest 3 months is that ideally you want to go and get a job. And that's why the main reason of why you come to SkilledUp Life is to gain experience. But we have individuals who has stayed with us for a lot longer than 3 months. Did I answer your question, or do you have any more questions?
Yes, please. The question answered. If
Okay.
I think my application is one of those pending.
You mean pending?
Well, I've sent a number of applications on SkilledUp Life, and some of them are still pending.
Oh, so we are guilty. Okay, okay. Saloni, would you mind taking a note so we can check afterwards, please? So Saloni is
Yes,
from
of
our
course. I will get back to all the participants later after the event is conducted.
Okay. Anyone else got any questions? I mean, you could also speak to Saloni, because Saloni is one of our HR volunteers. So she, you know, we are very transparent. So she, you know, she's welcome to say what works and what doesn't from her point of view.
Okay, so I would like to add some key points, something that I have been exposed to since I have joined SkilledUp Life as an HR volunteer. So it has only been about a month since I have joined the team at SkilledUp Life. And to be honest, it has been really fantastic. I have had opportunities to develop my global mindset, to work with people from all over the world, to understand their culture, to share experiences, their celebrations. Some of our team members are getting married, so that is one thing. We all celebrate our victories together and all the good things together. And we are almost like, like a family here. We learn together. There's no hesitation of any kind. If you want to ask questions, if you are unsure of anything, you can totally go ahead and ask anybody. Everybody is so friendly and always on board, ready to help whenever you need them. And you have a lot of opportunities to learn and evolve in your role. For example, if you want to go into recruitment, and your initial responsibilities include performance monitoring, you can totally contact the other people who are working on the recruitment side of things, and engage with them, get into interviewing participants, screening participants. You have a lot of opportunity to evolve in your role as well. So yeah, that would be it. If you have any questions for me, please go ahead and ask. I can see that Austin has a question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
All right, thank you very much. My question is to the SkilledUp Life team. So I noticed that there's no option to close an interview, a job post that has already been filled. And I noticed that applications still come in even after the job post has been filled. And that's because I've not, I don't know if there's a button that shows that a position has been filled and applications should stop. How do we, what's the button?
Can you see my screen?
Does it work? Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes.
Okay, so I've done this particular for a particular post, job post that I did, and still I received an application for a job that has already been closed today. Okay. So perhaps you want to look into that. Then there's something else on the, when you're trying to post an opportunity, there's this deadline that you give. There's a place where you fill the deadline. And then there's also in the form, there's a place that shows how long the job is going to be for. So because I'm suspecting, because of that particular, I'm just assuming here, because of that particular timeline, that's why a lot of applications still come in even after a position has been filled. So I don't know if the SkilledUp Life could look into that and ensure that that button actually works. And
okay.
Yeah, that's my observation.
Okay,
Thank you.
so Salon, if you don't mind taking a note, then we can check on that. I mean, this is there is a bit of a problem with there's two dates sometimes you see in here, and I don't know whether it's the same date on there. No, it's different dates. So what happened is that when you create the opportunity, it basically almost assign a date that so you can't stop this appearing until it expires on that date. But you should be able to mark it as filled. So you can't really delete, you could delete it, but we don't recommend you delete it, because then it will delete everyone who applied and you lose the history. But there can be a bit of a confusion, because this means that this opportunity will disappear on that day. But this means that if it's not closed, you can apply till that date. So sometimes those dates can be a little different from each other, but it's something I'm aware of, but we'll check to make sure that whether we can improve and overcome the problem you mentioned.
All right, thank you, Manoj. One more thing, please.
Yeah, sure.
So on the message board, I have noticed that when you're typing a message, it's always aligned by the right. Anytime you type a message, the message ends up, not the application message, not the opportunity message, but I'm talking about the SMS message.
You mean
I've noticed that when you send a long message, everything aligns to the right, and it does not follow the character you had initially used.
Yes.
The spacing, all the spacing is gone,
yes.
And so the message is just joined together and looks kind of messy. So I don't know if it's a back end thing, but I just wanted to point it out so that something can be done about it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. I mean, it's a known problem, but we'll record that and see what can be done. So which team are you volunteering for, Austin?
I volunteer for Kitchen Cottage Academy.
Okay.
And for Tesco.
Oh, you do too?
Yes, I do.
All right. How are you managing?
Well, both the demands are flexible, the timing are flexible, so it works for me.
Okay. That's really good. Anyone else here that who's already volunteering? Okay. So we got about another 10 minutes. If you have any questions, very happy to answer. Oh, sorry. We got a question. I can never pronounce your name. Chedachukwu. Please go ahead.
Hi, Manoj.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Okay. Basically, not really a question. Thanks to Austin. He actually pointed out some things I wanted to see, especially regarding the message box. So that particular alignment that he was complaining about, I've also experienced that. In fact, I always experience it.
Yeah.
And I also like to confirm when you send a message, like a direct message to applicants or candidates, I don't know if every candidate receives their message, because sometimes when you send a message to a candidate, you don't really get a response from them. So I want to be sure is not an issue from SkilledUp Life side. Maybe probably is from the candidate side. So I actually want to clarify that, especially, okay, I volunteer with Compera.
Yeah. I
volunteer with Tesco. Okay. So especially with Compera, you understand? So each time I send a message back then, each time I send a message to a candidate, I don't get a response from them through SkilledUp Live sites. I experienced that personally when an employer reaches out to me through the message, I receive it, but I don't know what happened back then that they don't receive it from Compera end side. So I was like, okay, I assume maybe it's from the candidate side, but if I get across to them via their mail, I get a response from them. So I just wanted to be sure, even though I haven't experienced it yet with TestQ, but I just want to be sure, is it an issue from SkilledUp Live side or from the candidate side?
So I don't know whether some of the messages go into spam folders. We haven't really tested that, but it should go. I mean, we do have a number of individuals who have entered their email addresses wrongly. So they can still log in, but the email might, I mean, that's just very small, less than probably 0.25%. But the email should be, should be delivered. Whether that hits the spam folder, I don't know. But Saloni will take that as an issue and see whether we can resolve that. Thank you. So you and Austin both working, volunteering for TechScoop then?
Yes, we are.
Wow, that's a good team. So I saw they got the first French opportunity listed.
Yes. We need someone for research analysis.
Okay.
From France, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is the I don't know whether we have we probably have very few people from France, but we might have some Africans who speak French. I don't know, because I remember, is it there's a couple of countries, isn't it, in Africa which has French as a main language. We have, I think that what will happen is that if we have opportunities in different languages, then we can go and attract people who speak those languages. But right now, everyone's been pretty much quite happy with English.
Yeah, yes, you're right. Everyone speak mostly English, so, but we'll definitely find our way around it.
Right, so we got about another 5 minutes. Has anyone else got any questions? Do you have any feedback for me in terms of the quick presentation? Was it clear? Hi, Faith, please go ahead.
Hi, Manoj. Good evening. Hi, everyone. Please, I'd like to ask a question regarding the volunteering to everyone who is already volunteering. So take, for example, I want to volunteer for a data analyst role. Do I have to have like basic knowledge in data analysis, or can I just come as a newbie and then I'll get training? I just want to be clear. What am I applying for? Is it something I already have like knowledge on it, or I could apply for whatever I see and then I would catch up as time goes on? Thank you.
So I think okay, go ahead. Okay, I think it depends on the role and it depends on the company. If you want to be data, go into data analytics, then we don't actually have a role ourselves, so I can't share any experience. But it's also, don't forget, even within SkilledUp Life, you're competing with other people. So from a company's point of view, they might take on the person who has the most experience. Now, in the situation like that, what I would suggest is, you get in touch. If they are not getting in touch with you, I would suggest you to become more proactive and show that you are willing to learn, willing to, really help them in the process. So, sadly, the reason that I created a SkilledUp Life is we can provide experience for anyone. But as people with experience come on board, you are getting into this unplanned competition, which we can't do anything about it at the moment. But for example, HR volunteering is very straightforward. Data analytics, as I said, we haven't had a role, so I don't exactly know if I had a role, what I would be looking for. But for some data analytics individuals got Microsoft PowerPoint type experience, and very few startups probably would use Microsoft PowerPoint. So not Microsoft PowerPoint. Sorry, oh God, I've forgotten the product, the product that Microsoft has.
I think you mean Microsoft Excel.
No, Power BI. Sorry, Microsoft
Right.
Power BI. So a lot of, as far as I know, a lot of startups don't use Power BI. So then you might have a problem. So if you happen to know what they use, then and you have some knowledge of that, then that would help. Tilda, you raise your hand. Please ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much. She already asked the question I wanted to ask, so yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I would like to add a point to the last question asked, is that even if you do not have a lot of experience in the domain you're applying for, the reviewer would like to see some enthusiasm from your end. You can maybe do some online courses to show that you're really committed to whatever it is that you're applying for. Or you could do some side projects, like if you're into programming and you have applied for a programming role, you can do some side projects on GitHub, for example, or anything that shows that you are actually willing to put in the work that would be required by the volunteer position.
Yeah, Saloni, that's a really good answer. So we got about 5 minutes left. Please use the time. Even if you think it's a silly question, go ahead and ask. Austin, please go ahead.
Yeah, may I also, do you mind if I answer the question also, just to give my 2 cents?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I think it is, because this is a volunteering opportunity, not an internship. So, typically internships will come with on the trainings, even if you don't have cognitive experience or relevant skills. But with volunteering, at least the least you can have is an idea of the role that you want to, go for, especially those ones that do not require some specific skills. If it's data analytics, for example, it is critical that you have a data analysis skill. If it's for HR, even if you've worked with people before as a customer service person, or you've dealt with people, you can qualify, but you also have to put in, you have to play your own part in perhaps learning about HR, what it entails before the interview, so that by the time of the interview, the interviewer can see that, oh, you're actually knowledgeable in this particular aspect and you can be an asset and you can learn on the job. So it's a two-way thing. Once you get the opportunity, you learn, but also you also have to come with something that the HR or the company is going to work with. Thank you.
Yeah, Austin, that's really a good answer. Thank you. I think, please take a look at your own profile, especially the About Me section. Now, that's the place you can really shine. Even if you don't have experience or any courses you've done, you could actually start to articulate why which area you want to progress. So to me, About Me is really the interesting bit, because it tells us about you. And then you got the education and the previous work experience. and any skills to sort of substantiate what you said in About Me section. A lot of people ignore About Me. They don't think too much about it. But to me, it's the most interesting part, because that's what help us to learn about you before we actually meet. So, Chedachuku, please go ahead. I'm terribly sorry for my pronunciation.
Okay, no, that's fine. You're even doing well. Okay, so not really a question. So I just want to address the lady that asked the experience question. So just like my nurse said, the About Me section is very, very important, because it depends on the person recruiting. The person might not be patient to want to hear you at first doing interview. So the About Me says a lot about you. Now, in the About Me, it's just like your job summary or your career summary, you know, so you highlight what's your experiences and everything. Then there's also an option whereby you rate yourself, the skills that you have. Okay, so rating yourselves, all these things comes out on your About Me page or on your profile page. So anyone going through your profile will already know the skills that you already have. So whether little or nothing, then probably you also provide a link to your, maybe your LinkedIn or any other career platform that can, you know, talk more about you. In case the person, most people click on that, you know, to check your LinkedIn profile or anything, where they have a broader view about your career growth or your career journey, actually. Then some people, now I'm talking about maybe from experience, some people, it depends on what they want. Some people might already have someone in that role on ground and now need an assistant to that person. So now you explaining yourself very well and what you can do in the About Me section will now determine if they want to reach out to you, and then for you to now defend or talk about yourself more during the interview. So in that case, they might now want to bring you in as, okay, this person is willing to learn and acquire more skills. So you can now come in and assist the existing person. So in that process, you are no more a newbie like that. You would have acquired one or two, you know, skills or experiences. So that might be another way you can go about it. Okay, so try to explain yourself more in the About Me and rate the skills that you already have that are related to your area of interest. Maybe data analysis, for instance, the skills that you already have there, that you already have in relation to that. So highlight them and rate yourself. Is it 60%? Is it 70%? Is it 80%? You know, what is your percentage in that capacity? Yeah, thank you.
So the call's gonna end now. So we run out of time, but thank you so much for your input, and also Austin as well. You know, it's amazing to have you here.